This is for the descendants of the colonized. When people tell us that we should have empathy for and be willing to help maggots or any other nationalists and white supremacists who have a change of tune all of a sudden because they need help, ask yourself, how did that go for our ancestors? How did that go for the Africans? How did that go for the Native Americans? How did that go for the Taino? How did that go for the Aboriginals, the Maori, the Hawaiians? You know the answer. These are the same people who hate strangers, who do not want to welcome strangers. And because our ancestors were the opposite, and they were willing to welcome strangers and help them, lend them a helping hand, they were destroyed because of it. So to me, if someone is telling you, demanding that you show empathy, fellow feeling, humanity to, and be willing to help a white supremacist because they need it and they're a fellow human being, don't listen to them and don't trust them. They should not be trusted. These people are at the top for a reason, because they're vicious. That doesn't mean that we need to be vicious, but it does mean that we should not help them.
I don't understand black people's kindness towards white people right now. As a trans person, I don't feel a lot of kindness towards society. I don't feel a lot of kindness towards transphobic people. And when I consider that I don't know who's transphobic and who is, in a similar, not same way that black people don't know which white people are racist and who isn't, I personally have a very difficult time understanding the kindness that the black community, that black people continue to give white people, despite the fact that we really don't deserve it. We don't deserve kindness from them, and anytime we foster allyship, show allyship, it always comes with a caveat that if you correct us, then you're wrong because we're trying, as if that's a correct metric for measuring progress. I don't get it. I don't understand how black people are so kind to white people when we have done nothing to earn it, and historically, systemically, have done everything to make black people distrustful of us. I don't get it. And because the oppression of black people is more similar to my oppression as a trans person. To be clear, it's not the same. I don't think it's the same. But I have more to learn from the black community than I do from the white community, because black people experience oppression in a way that is more similar to my experience than cis white people. And that's not to say that it is the same, because I don't think that it is, but the hand that oppresses one is the hand that oppresses all. And the thing that I am stuck on is how kind black people choose to be to us, despite the fact that they don't know which ones of us it is and which ones it isn't. And I think that when we're thinking about qualities of personhood and what makes a person a superior being, I think in some ways, right, that absolutely makes black people superior to white people. Because I'm angry as fuck about it. I don't feel the urge to be nice to people. And they have 400 plus years in this country of experience of us specifically oppressing them.
Aren't you tired of this culture war bullshit? Aren't you done? Republicans, voters, Tennessee specifically, aren't you tired of them cramming culture war bullshit down your throat while you're poor, broke, can't afford groceries, your energy bills have skyrocketed, your insurance premiums have doubled or tripled, your best friend lost his farm, factories around you closing, hundreds of thousands of jobs lost? You're paying taxes while they're ripping away safety nets, taking funding away from schools and special education, taking away worker protections for you. Meanwhile, they're cramming culture war bullshit down your throat so that you don't notice. These people promise to make life great for the blue-collar man. You elected a billionaire who put in his cabinet other billionaires who only need you and your children to be the little cogs that turn their machines every day, that make them money. They're taking your tax dollars and screwing over the American people. And aren't you tired? Aren't you sick of it? You know the man lied to you by now. You can't be that dumb. And if you continue to vote for people who bang the drum of MAGA, who march to their tune, who just repeat the same culture war bullshit because they think you're too dumb to understand the politics of it all, aren't you tired? You have a job today in Tennessee, your 7th congressional district. They don't think Afton can win. She can win if you turn the corner. Say, I'm done with this bullshit. I'm done with electing people who think I'm dumb. I'm done electing people who have been lying to me for the last 11 years. I'm done watching billionaires treat me like I'm scum because I'm poor. I'm done letting them lie to me. So if you live in the 7th congressional district and you're a Republican voter, you have a chance to make things better today, starting today. You have got to be tired, sick and goddamn tired of this bullshit. Donald Trump spent the better part of yesterday and today spreading heinous lies about who Afton Bain is and what she wants to do. And I just need you to ask yourself if you're smarter than that. Are you smarter than just gulping down the MAGA lies anymore because it's been happening for so long and they know that you're going to fall for it? I'm just begging you to prove them wrong.
Poor white people who are especially disingenuous as being like some of the largest demographic of Trump supporting Republicans were this one suffering the most under the same white patriarchal supremacist system. The fuck was that? Anyway, the ancestors are just agreeing with what I'm saying, basically. One way that I knew that white patriarchal supremacy was failing here in America in particular was when I observed that college-educated white people now were suffering under the same system that was supposed to benefit them the most. See, we didn't have a student loan debt crisis until college-educated white graduates could no longer pay their student loans. We didn't have a housing crisis until college-educated white people could no longer afford a starter home or the mortgage or the interest rate for a starter home or family home, etc. All of those things, student loan debt, being unable to find work after graduating from college despite being qualified, being unable to afford a nice home or property for your family to build wealth and to build status through inheritance and passing down and whatnot. All of those things have long been challenges for Black people and for people of color, even with all of our college degrees, our certificates, our etc., etc. But it didn't all become a crisis until college-educated white people started to suffer. But poor white people, being so disingenuous and being the largest subgroup of Trump-supporting Republican voters, were sitting here suffering as impoverished Americans without access to college education and upward mobility and whatnot, and were still upholding and enforcing through violence the systems of white patriarchal supremacy. As I've said previously, white patriarchal supremacy was always destined to fail because it was built on a system of privilege, and who can access that privilege was always going to be a changing definition. So white gentry could access it by virtue of birth, by virtue of their wealth and nobility status at birth, by virtue of the family that they were born into. Then it had to change to accommodate white men who were not born into the gentry, who were not born into land-owning, wealthy, powerful families. Then it had to change to accommodate white men who were not Protestant. Then it had to change to accommodate white women. Then it had to change to accommodate white people. Then it had to change to accommodate foreign people of color. It had to change to accommodate biracial and mixed race people, etc., etc. That privilege was always a changing definition by virtue of human action and human action over time. It was always going to change and thus was always going to fail. Why we have neo-Nazism and why we have fascism and Proud Boys and Oath Keepers and all this shit popping up now is because now white people are being subjected to the systemic institutionalized violence that Black people and people of color were always subjected to. right? But the white patriarchal supremacy being the self-eating snake it was really only a matter of time before the definition of who is privileged in America would change. So now that the definition of who has access to power, who has access to college education, who has access to home ownership, who has access to upward economic and financial mobility has changed and has varied to include wider groups of people. Now the self-eating snake has to adjust how it eats and how it subjugates and oppresses. And so it turns to a wider, bigger population, a bigger demographic of people to subjugate and oppress. And who else is left but other white people? Because black people have already been subjugated and oppressed. Non-black people of color have already been subjugated and oppressed. Please see Native Americans. Non-black people of color who are foreigners have already been subjugated and oppressed. So the snake looks around like, well, I've eaten all of these people. I've conquered all of these people. Who else is next? Because I'm hungry. I still have to eat. I am a snake. I am a viper. I still have to eat. I still have to consume in order to stay alive. And if now college-educated middle-class white people are all that's left, they're going to be consumed as well. Too bad, so sad. It was unheard of that a college-educated white person couldn't find a good job after graduating from university. That was the whole point of getting a college degree. It was unheard of that college-educated white people were struggling with failure to launch and moving out of familial homes in their 20s and 30s. It was unheard of that college-educated white people were working in the service industry in menial manual labor jobs despite having a college degree and being white. That was unheard of, and it didn't become a crisis until it started impacting college-educated white people. That self-eating snake is eating them up now too, and it has always been eating us, so we've always had to adapt. We've always had to rely on one another. We've always had to change. We've always had to live on the outside, be on the outside looking in. We've always had to delay certain life milestones like home ownership and marriage, etc., and finally achieving a good paying job and being debt free. We've always had to delay those things. But now college educated white people are getting just a small little teensy-weensy little taste sampling of what black people and people of color have always lived with in this country since this country's inception. And what do? Turn to neo-fascism. They turn to white supremacy. They turn to neo-Nazism. What did I say a while back? Poor white people who are Republican Trump supporting voters are extremely disingenuous because they're upholding a system that oppresses them too. They know that and they don't give a fuck. What they're hoping is that the self-eating snake will stop eating them and turn on the rest of us instead.
If you want Republicans to finally stop voting against their best interests, stop saving them. If you want Republicans to stop voting against their own best interests, stop saving them. Republicans suck at running the country. Republicans are too bigoted, too racist, too self-aggrandizing, far too deep up billionaires' behinds to be effective leaders in any capacity, mayoral or at the top as a president. But the reason they keep getting a chance to do it is because Republican voters keep getting saved from the consequences of their actions, which is their vote for ineffective leadership. The governor of Michigan, Gretchen Whitmer, just saved her state from the consequences of their vote in 2024 by protecting SNAP and EBT benefits for them. The Democratic governor of Michigan, who watched her state vote majority red for Donald Trump in 2024. Oh, you forgot who Gretchen Whitmer is? I'll remind you. Yeah. In 2020, Gretchen Whitmer, governor of Michigan, was the potential victim of a kidnapping to be executed by 13 pale men who apparently did not feel that she was deserving of the seat as governor of Michigan. Yeah, these are just two of the men this past year that were convicted of their plot to kidnap Gretchen Whitmer, the same woman now that's saving SNAP food benefits for the state of Michigan. This is how she was received. The same person that the Democrat that, Every time Democrats and Democratic leadership does their job and pushes this country to a better standing, Republicans get angry about it, elect a Republican leader who is terrible, and we go into a recession. Like 12 out of the last 10 recessions were under Republican leadership after said Republican was handed a booming economy by a Democratic president. Yet somehow they keep doing this and don't see the problem because Democratic leadership still saves them, along with the rest of us sane motherfuckers, from the consequences of their actions and their votes. And now what? We're bailing out the farmers, the pale ones, mind you, that voted for Donald Trump and got themselves tariffs into oblivion, got their cattle rejected for Argentinian beef. Now we're bailing them out. I've screamed at y'all for years on this app and told y'all that the reason why these pale people get out here and vote the way that they do is because they will be shielded from the consequences of their actions. There will be some other group of people that save them along with the rest of us from their choices. They don't have to make better decisions because we keep getting ahead of it, destiny swapping, and ending up screwed so that they can get away with their BS. Stop saving them. These hoes don't want to be saved. They want to suffer.
This is for the descendants of the colonized. When people tell us that we should have empathy for and be willing to help maggots or any other nationalists and white supremacists who have a change of tune all of a sudden because they need help, ask yourself, how did that go for our ancestors? How did that go for the Africans? How did that go for the Native Americans? How did that go for the Taino? How did that go for the Aboriginals, the Maori, the Hawaiians? You know the answer. These are the same people who hate strangers, who do not want to welcome strangers. And because our ancestors were the opposite, and they were willing to welcome strangers and help them, lend them a helping hand, they were destroyed because of it. So to me, if someone is telling you, demanding that you show empathy, fellow feeling, humanity to, and be willing to help a white supremacist because they need it and they're a fellow human being, don't listen to them and don't trust them. They should not be trusted. These people are at the top for a reason, because they're vicious. That doesn't mean that we need to be vicious, but it does mean that we should not help them. I'm not helping a white supremacist. I'm not helping any maggots. I'm not doing it. These people call themselves supreme. They're supposed to be the best. They can help themselves. If they're so supreme, they need to prove it. We need to watch out and look out for ourselves. The people who actually respect other human beings, who have humanity, who aren't white supremacists. And I'm not just talking about white people. I'm talking about all the coons, all the people groveling to this administration, whether they're black, Hispanic, Indian. I don't know if there's any natives for Trump, but there could be. Even if they're non-white, they should not be helped if they agree with this administration and then all of a sudden claim to have a change of heart when they're in dire straits because of this administration. Ask them. Ask the president you voted for and watch him spit in your face as he sends money to Nazis in Argentina. Hydra is real. Hydra, that's a real thing. It's already here. It's been here. I don't know if it's the Zionists or the Nazis. I don't know. America's in bed with both of them, which is very odd. We need to learn from the past and not make the same mistake our ancestors did. Yeah, kindness is nice. Empathy is great. But sometimes there's certain people you shouldn't extend either of those to because they don't value your life. They just want to make sure that you value theirs. Oh, and the minority Christians are a part of this too. They're going to want to forgive because Jesus tells them to do so. That white Jesus from the Middle East is going to tell them to forgive racism and white supremacy and to overlook it all. While Christian nationalists say that slavery isn't inherently bad. I'm not going to be associated with people who overlook that. Absolutely not. They aren't going to get my help either. They're not going to get my empathy, sympathy, kindness either. Just like this man. They find happiness in white power. They appreciate the position they're in underneath white power. They're gonna go down with the plantation. All the coons, Christian or not, black or not, all the people that are non-white who shuck and jive for the white man, who overlook the white supremacy so that they can stay comfortable, no empathy, no sympathy. You want to go down with the plantation? Be my guest. America, it's still a plantation. And a lot of y'all want to stay slaves. And it pisses me the fuck off. So no, it's too late. It's 2025. If you don't deconstruct white supremacy, especially as a black person or any other minority, but also as a white person, then I'm not interested in even being around you. If you want help and you voted for all of this, too bad. Look to each other for help. Don't ask me. You claim to be the majority who voted for this anyway, right? Millions of you? Build community with each other. Look to your fellow maggots. Don't ever ask me for help. And I think the same goes for people who Palestine was your only issue. The only issue that you cared about, as if there's not genocides in Congo and Sudan as well. The ones telling everybody to suffer because we voted for Kamala and you think that that means we wanted Palestinians to suffer? No. But in order for America to stop fucking up the entire world, we have to change it from the inside. And if everybody's suffering, that's not going to happen. Or maybe it will. Maybe it will. But why should we help you if you wanted all of us to suffer? As if Palestine was the only issue going on in the world. No, I don't think I want to help people like that either. And it is difficult because if you run a food bank, you're not going to start asking people who they voted for to feed them. That would be cruel. And I don't run a food bank. And if I did, I probably wouldn't be asking people who they voted for if they need food. But sometimes I really want to. Sometimes I really want to. So that they can be turned to a mega food pantry, if that even exists. I am not saying in this video that empathy is a bad thing, that it's toxic, that it's dangerous, like all these other psychopaths. They're the ones saying that. So I say we apply their logic to them. If they're so supreme, give them an opportunity to prove it without a helping hand this time. Because this country that they want to make great again would have never existed without the help of our ancestors. No more help.
The movement that calls itself MAGA has never been about greatness. It has never been about jobs, prosperity, or even the faintest whiff of liberty. Its defining characteristic is cruelty, deliberate, vindictive, and proudly displayed. The signature of Trump's revived presidency is not governance, but punishment. Punishment of immigrants, of minorities, of the poor, of the inconvenient. In this respect, MAGA is not a deviation from conservatism, but the inevitable fruit of authoritarian psychology, where domination of outsiders is more important than the well-being of the nation itself. The evidence of his second term is already damning. An executive order has declared gender immutable at conception, erasing federal recognition of transgender Americans in a stroke of bureaucratic spite. Federal marshals and ICE agents now conduct spectacular raids in workplaces and restaurants, dragging immigrants away in a theater of humiliation that does nothing to reduce crime or improve safety. The homeless of Washington, D.C. have been ordered to move out immediately, as if poverty were a misdemeanor to be scrubbed from the sidewalk, rather than a social ill to be addressed. Local autonomy has been trampled as the White House seized control of DC's police force, deploying troops against a population whose crime rate is already at a generational low. None of these measures advance prosperity. None safeguard liberty. None uphold dignity. They only serve one purpose: to demonstrate who wields power and who can be degraded by it. Why do millions of Americans cheer for this? Why do voters back a movement that inflicts gratuitous harm on their neighbors, sometimes even on themselves? Decades of research on authoritarianism, dominance, and collective narcissism provide the answer. The punishment is not incidental. It is the point. MAGA's base rallies behind Trump not despite the cruelty, but because of it. The infliction of pain on outgroups, whether immigrants, trans people, the poor, or woke elites, is felt as a restoration of order, a proof that their tribe still rules the land.
So the whole world knows that black people have suffered immensely because of them being kind, because of them choosing to be friendly and choosing to care about everyone else. And that is the spirit of black people. Black people all over the world, they're not used to the things that happen with, for example, white people, just being selfish, all these vices. Black people are not very familiar with that, and that is not something that you can even explain. As a black person, you just understand that for yourself, because blacks have this spirit where there's a lot of sharing, there's a lot of caring for your neighbor, there's a lot of making sure that the person next to you is okay. There's the spirit of wanting to know that the people around you have enough for themselves, that they are doing well. Even just checking, something as basic as just checking to see that your neighbor is okay. Now, I just happened to learn that that is not the same for white people. And white people, for you to even visit someone and get to know if they are okay, or, borrow something from them, it's not even something that happens most of the time, because they have this system where you have to be alone. You have to make sure that you are adequate enough and with yourself. Yeah. That means that even if you are in trouble, you have to make sure that you figure it out yourself. That is not the case for black people. Black people, be it in America, be it in the other European countries, be it in Africa, anywhere that you find black people, we have that spirit of just being there for your brothers and sisters. Does not matter where they come from. And when we're talking about black people caring about other people, we're not talking specifically about them caring about other fellow blacks. No, black people will care about white people. They will care about Asians. They will care about, all those races that you can imagine. Black people, as long as you're a human being, they will care about you. As long as you're a human being and you have needs and you have things that you need to get help for, they will do it for you, because that is how they have been brought up in families. And they know that it's their responsibility to make sure that the person closest to them is okay. Now, unlike for white people, they are used to just, demonizing socialism, making it look like being together and trying to help the other person is wrong. They just want to live some lonely life. They only care about maybe their own white people. But for the other races, they would rather see you drowning than just help you. They would rather film you while you drown in whatever you're drowning in, instead of just giving a helping hand. They have that ingrained in them so hard that it's even hard for black people to comprehend the level of selfishness that these people possess. Now, why did I say that black people have suffered because of their kindness? Look at, for example, something like slavery. For white people to come to Africa and enslave the Africans, it was not a question of power. It was really a question of them coming and behaving as though they needed help, and they came, and black people helped them, actually gave them a home, gave them a warm place to be, welcomed them, and they fully settled in to feel like they are accepted and they are wanted here, and they can stay as long as they want, only for them to turn back and turn on black people and make their lives miserable. You welcomed these people, you did the best that you can for them, but now they have changed and become some evils that now you have to deal with. They go ahead to enslave people, they go ahead to colonize black people in Africa and make it so hard for blacks to own anything. They took advantage of their property. They took the African people's lands, which they own some, even as we speak right now. They have made Africa and black people in general live life as though they are half needed on this world. Because when we're talking about white people oppressing blacks or colonizing or, all that evil that white people are used to doing to black people, it is not even stopped. For example, in Africa, colonization is still on. It is not just happening in the way that it was happening that time, but it's still happening because look at all the big facilities. It's the white people that own them. So these people are abroad in America and in the other European countries, but their rule is still being felt here because they have all this property that they have, employed black people and making them work so hard to be paid so little. So they are still running these African countries while they stay wherever they are. Now, that is why I say colonization did not even end, And even the way that they speak to black people, the way that they view black people and their opinions, they just go to tell you that these people have not gotten used to the fact that they are now not in charge, yeah? They behave in such a way to mean that they're still in charge and they will always be in charge, and black people are just, people to be taken advantage of, nothing more than that. Cheap labor, stuff like that. Same case for America. Black people have been nothing but kind to white people. But what white people gave in return was horrible. It's things you do not even want to discuss because they're always making black people regret existing, yeah? There are many people that actually just regret existing in America because their lives are so hard. They cannot even rest. They cannot have time with their families because they have to be working so hard out there to make sure that things are okay for them and for their families. And if they do not take care of that, they are going to be homeless and nobody will care to make sure that they get houses back. Whatever injustice happens to black people, nobody really gives an ear to know that these people are suffering and they need help. Nobody bothers, be it the government, be it the white people. Nobody really cares. They just think that is okay. It's as long as it's white, white people are okay, then the whole thing is okay. It doesn't matter what black people are experiencing. Now, I am just glad that there are some white people that see these things deeper than everyone else. They notice that there is this injustice that is happening to black people, and they are willing to even talk about it. There's just too much that they can do, but they choose to talk about it, at least to make it known to the whole world that they see that these are the things that are happening. So when black people are complaining, it's actually a consolation, because when a white person says it out loud that this is the things that our families, our brothers and sisters are doing to black people, then it looks true. Otherwise, when black people are complaining about something, it always looks like they're making up things. They are always complaining. They're just looking for ways to be violent. They're just making up things to make sure that the government looks like it's not working. That, they're always not believing black people. So thank you to all the white people that stand up for justice, stand up for the truth, and make sure that they speak for those that cannot speak for themselves. Now, the situation in America is dire at the moment, and we are not even sure that things will be different anytime soon, because as it is for black people and for white people alike, things are bad. Things are going so wrong. The only difference is that black people are used to these things. They have been going through this for 400 years. They surely have gotten used to it, and they know how to navigate their way around this matter. For white people, it is new and it's foreign and it's strange. So they do not know how to make do with the little that they are making, They do not know how to behave around a situation where you do not have a job and you're not getting a job. They're applying 30 applications a month and getting nothing in return, no feedback, no nothing. They are unsure of how to survive with that situation. But what they are forgetting, deliberately forgetting, and the fact that black people have been doing that for quite some time, you know, all their years. That is their reality. And I'm happy that this is happening to white people, and it's happening to all the other races alike, so that, you know, next time when you're talking about do not vote for this guy because he will ruin our lives more, then they will understand, because it is now from experience that they know this is a wrong move and we need to make a difference if we are ever to get any different result. So guys, if you've not subscribed to my channel, kindly consider doing that right now. And returning subscribers, thank you so much for always being here, encouraging me to make more videos, sharing, you know, leaving comments, interacting in the comment section. Yeah, I see you all, and I'm happy that you are in this community of ours. So I hope that you're also keeping safe and making sure that your family and friends are okay. I will see you on my next video, so bye for now.